In this video, we will be discussing the philosophy of identity. What about you stays the same over time, no matter what changes you undergo? Let's say I'm showing you a picture of me when I was a kid. This that I'm pointing to, this was me, or it is me, or once was me. You know what I mean though, right? You would probably just be polite and tell me I looked so cute, and we would move on. Sharing baby photos seems like a normal human interaction until you really think about it. Let's analyze what actually is going on here. So here we have paper and colored ink and some light. And I'm referring to this piece of paper here, this former piece of a tree, as a human baby? The old me? This is me? This is paper. I was never paper. Right now you're probably thinking, well, you know what I mean. We're not saying you're the piece of paper. We're saying that the image, the representation there was you at one point. There's an unspoken understanding between humans, but that's kind of actually where the issue lies. Because do we really know what we mean when we point to an old photo of ourselves and say, that was me? How is that you? You look nothing like that. All of you is different. You have new atoms and blood cells. Your organs are bigger. You might have lost some organs. You might have lost a limb. Your hair is different. You have teeth now. So what is it about me that, after all this time, has remained the same? Because there's nothing I can point to in this picture that is still me now, today. One possible answer to this could involve physical continuity. This type of answer basically holds that the reason you are you is because your physical vessel of flesh continued existing throughout your life. The objection to this answer involves the fact that the brain and body change dramatically. Your brain is not the same. Through neuroplasticity, your neuron pathways are constantly being rewired. Some neurons die while new connections form. Your physical brain matter can even shrink after illness, but it can likewise also grow. People can survive losing entire regions of brain tissue, or even have an entire hemisphere removed. But for some reason, we would still consider them the same person. Physical changes to the brain can even affect your personality so drastically that loved ones might literally say, they're a different person now. So if it's not your brain, then you might think the answer is your DNA. In other words, your DNA is what makes you you. DNA is not resistant to change. Mutations can occur from radiation, toxins, or random copying errors during cell division. And in some cells, entire sections of DNA can be deleted or rearranged. So while your DNA is stable, it's not necessarily enough to anchor your entire personal identity. By now, all of your cells have been replaced, altered, damaged, or aged. Skin, blood, bone, muscle have either regenerated or deteriorated, or even changed microscopically compared to the body you once had as a child. So how are you the same if you're different? When you show someone your baby picture, you're not pointing to the neurons, you're not pointing to the eyeball and saying that's me. You just somehow mean that this person used to be me, and you're not saying that it's because we have the same DNA or the DNA is the same, because it might not be exactly the same. Maybe you think psychological continuity is the answer. You might think that the reason you are you is because of your continuous psychology. So you're not your physical brain,
but you are your immaterial mind. Do you think that you are the same person throughout your life because of some invisible psychological chain linking you to your past? Is your identity maintained simply because of stories, memories, preferences, ideas, thoughts, your history, or other invisible mental states? An objection to psychological continuity is that too many things in your psychology can change. Has any part of your psychology remained exactly the same? Memories are unreliable and prone to alteration. Even when we think we're recalling something perfectly, the brain is actually vaguely reconstructing, not precisely replaying. False memories can be implanted through manipulation and gaslighting. We can even exaggerate or downplay things that actually happened. And don't forget that your entire lifetime of memories can one day just vanish in amnesia or dementia. Yet, for some unknown reason, you remain the same person in the eyes of yourself and the eyes of others. Think of your mind as a container filled with things we cannot see, like thoughts, values, dreams, math, and reasoning. All of these things can shift dramatically over a lifetime. People change beliefs, convictions, principles, and even fundamental values, and we can even change for the worse. Drugs, medication, trauma, and other things that were not part of your life as a child can be a huge determining factor in what makes you you now. Your consciousness is also not the same. Consciousness is awareness of self and surroundings. You may think it has persisted, but consciousness can disappear entirely. Deep anesthesia, a coma, or advanced dementia can erase all subjective experience for hours, months, or years. Yet, if the person wakes, we still treat them as the same individual who went under. This raises the question: if you can completely vanish from experience and then return, is consciousness really the constant that defines identity?
The most tempting thing people like to say is your soul remains the same. That throughout the years, there's a certain soul of objects, like your home has a soul, a person has a soul, an aura, a vibe. The soul or spirit remains regardless of how much other change goes on with that person. The problem with souls, other than the fact that they can't be empirically verified, is that people can still change. If someone was said to be a rotten soul growing up, a kid with horrible behavior, but then later did a 180 and became the best possible version of themselves, does that mean their soul changed too? Or if someone was really nice and sweet growing up and we said they had the most pure soul, but then later ended up becoming a serial killer, are they deep down still a sweet soul? Or does that mean souls can change too?
But not everyone believes in souls. They aren't empirically verifiable. The no self theory would claim that there is no fixed, unchanging self or core identity. Instead, what we call the self is a constantly changing process or collection of experiences with no permanent essence underlying it. The issue with the no self theory is that, despite changes, people still seem to experience and rely on a persistent, continuous self. But if there was no fixed self, then why do we still feel like the same person? If you had a baby photo or a photo of yourself 10 years ago, would you say, I don't know who that is? Or would you say, that was me? If so, when did it stop being you? Other people continue to recognize individual identity. Social roles such as motherhood, where personal suffering, educational achievements, historical influence can endure beyond the self's supposed impermanence. This challenges the claim that identity is purely an illusion. If there is no enduring self, why do we perceive continuity?
If I lose a button in my shirt, I'm not going to say I have a different shirt now. If you're smoking a cigarette, you're smoking the same cigarette, even though it's constantly changing. It's burning and ashing and it's getting shorter and shorter. How much change can something undergo and still be considered the same thing?